always make a promise that if I'm going to MC, I'm going to start on time. So we're starting on time. And what that means to you people is that you'll eat on time. You can see that wonderful spread there, so you'll get to eat earlier if we start right away. Okay, we're going to have our mayor introduce himself first.
And good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. What a great opportunity in our community to further enhance, the families of our community, and honor those that we're here to honor at our annual Living Treasures program. So again, I'm Dan Baroni, I'm the mayor of town of Taos, and on behalf of myself and the council, we really appreciate the turnout. Families are important, and us getting together to really enhance this occasion, to honor those that have done something special in our community. So thank you for being here and welcome.
And I'm Kathy Cordova, co-chair of the Taos Living Treasures program. And in just a little while, I'm going to introduce my co-chair, Tina, because she is busy lighting everybody up. But we will now start by announcing the honorees and their speakers, and then they will take their place, and we will start. Our first honoree is Chet N, and his speaker is Marion Summer.
Our next honoree is Mr. Jeff Northrup, and his speaker, Mr. Bill Whaley. Welcome.
Next, we have Feloniz Trujillo and her son, Octaviano Trujillo, who will be her speaker.
Next, we have Clorinda, Cisneros, and Mr. William Cordova will be your speaker. Welcome.
Our next honoree is Mike Concha, and his speaker is his daughter, Alice Martinez.
Next is Mr. Manjo Trujillo, and his speaker will be Manuel Montes Trujillo. Welcome.
And last, but certainly not least, is Carl Anthony Cat, because of his nicknames, Tsosie Jr., and his speaker, former governor of Pecuris Pueblo, Gerald Naylor. Now, I want all of you to know that you see this here and you walked in and it just seems like so easy, but it didn't happen by magic. I wish I could have gotten a little wand and just waved it and everything happened, but that's not how it is. So we have some people that have helped with us, and I would like to have them recognized. First, I never could have done this without my co-chair, Tina Quintana. I'm going to give you a tiny little thing that happened this week. Tina and I were lining up the chairs for today's event, and the reason she is chosen for this honor is we go back to the history of the Living Treasures. 1987, Los Bailadores del Norte were the honorees. Her parents were part of that group. So since her parents were among the first honorees, she is now stuck with me. And we were doing these chairs, and I looked at her and I said, see what your parents' honor bought you? So I got her a lot of work. Thank you, Tina. This program was canceled in 2010, and it was kind of a black eye for me because the judges had already selected 3 recipients, and they were not honored. So they're going to be honored today. And when I asked the town council and the mayor, could you please bring this back? They said we would love to. So So we must thank our friends, the town council, the mayor, and other people from the town government that helped a lot. Were Manager Rick Bellis, Kathy Martinez was a guardian angel, Kathy Romero, I'm sorry, was our guardian angel. She made the plaques, ran off the program, just did everything, all the paperwork. And of course, the town of Taos. So if we could have a round of applause for all these people. I saw one city councilor in the audience. I don't know if any other of the others are. Are there any councilors in the audience besides Fritz? Okay. Fritz is the only counselor here, I guess, and I put him to work. He said, put me to work, and I said, okay, hand out programs, so he got stuck. Now we have some friends that the judges select some of the honorees, but the pueblos pick their own honorees. And so we always go to them and say, help. So we have the Taos Pueblo officials. I know the governor and our lovely First Lady are back there, but are there any other people who help out here? The secretary is over there. By the way, she was my former student. Now we also went to Picuris Pueblo and said, help, and they helped. So Picuris Pueblo officials, are any of you in the audience? Could you please be recognized? And then we have our friends at UNM. You know that UNM now has charge of this building. And so I went to Rudy Baca, my neighbor, and said, oh, I need some help. And he said, okay, fine. So we want to thank Rudy Baca. And notice that we have our own TV crew over here, Channel 22. And Francis Valerio, Francis Velarde, is taping this, and all of the living treasures are going to get a CD of this event. Also, within the next week, this will appear on Channel 22 next week too, so everybody can watch this again. We'd like to thank UNM-Taos as well for all their help. As you look and see the table being set so that we can have our reception, we have some people to thank there. Benji Apalaca, Mary Spears, and the Taos High Culinary Arts Program. Benji was also my student, but I didn't teach him how to cook. Wish I could take the credit for that. And then I told the mayor that this is the only time in my life I'm going to get to do this, so I want to do it. I am pulling rank on the mayor for once. I get to introduce our lovely First Lady, Della Baroni. By the way, if any of you can go to Town Hall and see her decorations, oh my gosh. She and her daughter Danica really made Halloween very special over there. But the First Lady also has a part in this. She's just so sorry she's my friend because I drag her into all kinds of stuff. She loaned us all her tablecloths. So we want to thank you for that. And I don't know if Catherine Egley left. She did take a group picture of the living treasures earlier, but I'd like to thank the Taos News because they gave us a 2-page informational thing about all the living treasures, and I got to write it, and I was very honored. So thank you, Taos News. And we don't just pull people out of thin air and say, oh, let's honor this person, let's honor this person. The way these people are selected is the Pueblos pick their own, but then all of you get to nominate somebody. If you think somebody has done a lifetime of volunteer service and they deserve to be honored, then all you do, you write a letter, be detailed, and tell us the things that they have done and why you think they're a living treasure. And then the judges may also think they're a living treasure and select them. So we'd like to thank the people who nominated. That is a very important part of this program. So thank you all. And And in 2010, we had some very wonderful judges, and if any of them are here, I'd like them to be recognized and stand up. Megan Avina, Ashley Branch, Gail Martinez, Medalia Martinez, who was also a living treasure, and Rita Stein. I know Medalia's here. We have a formula for judges, by the way. We always get somebody, a youth judge, and we get a former living treasurer, someone who works for the elders, a person at large, and someone representing the sponsoring organization, which this year is UNM-Taos. So our judges for this year were Shirley Martinez Fernandez, our head librarian, and I saw her in the audience. Francisco B. Martinez, who's also going to play. Tracy Poffenroth. And Tilly B. Hill. And I have two people in the back handing out programs, so if you didn't get a program, go get one from them. Diane Sider, my goddaughter, who's stuck with me also, and Fritz Hans. And I have a special guardian angel who came along after we printed the program. I don't know if he's here, but I'd like to give a big thank you to my former student, Sammy Lucero.
Before we go on, I just want to recognize Mrs. Cordova, because without her, this program would have died. It wouldn't have come back to the council, and so I would really applaud her for this opportunity.
You weren't there when I cried the tears when this got canceled. My family had to deal with it, so I want to thank my family for putting up with me also. Okay, now we're going to induct the first honoree, who is Mr. Chet Mitchell. And first we're going to call upon his granddaughter, Marion Summer, to speak, and then the mayor will call Chet up to give him his award. Marion?
Hi! Wow, this is great to see so many people here today to honor these old timers. And though each are here for a different reason, they all have one thing in common, and that's a love for this community and those people who call Taos home. I'm Marion Summers, on behalf of Chet Mitchell, his granddaughter, or he's my grandfather, excuse me. Chet's mom came to America on a ship from Sweden, where later she and three sisters homesteaded near Roy, New Mexico. His father's family from Arkansas also homesteaded there. His mom, Elizabeth, after working as a Harvey girl in Raton, married Hugh and started a family, Chet being one of 4 kids. He grew tall and handsome on the plains during the peak of the Dust Bowl, learning to raise cattle when the grass grew, and sheep when it seemed the sand and dirt would consume the land. He moved to Santa Fe for a brief time, just long enough to graduate from high school, when the realization that he would probably be drafted into the Army seized him. Not wanting to go into the Army, he decided instead to enlist into the Navy. Can you imagine the Navy? The biggest pool of water that man had ever seen was in a stock tank, and he didn't even know how to swim. He still doesn't. That time was spent on the USS Anderson as a gunner on a destroyer in the Philippines during World War II. Chet survived an encounter with a torpedo, which launched him into the air, only to break his nose when he landed on the deck. So now you know the story behind that. And the kamikaze attack, which took the lives of many fellow sailors. Chet finally made his way to Taos in 1946, where he and his brother started a dairy in El Prado. Evidence of that endeavor survives today behind the Methodist Church, where the grain silo still stands. He married Marion Bantam from Santa Fe, and soon after came their only child, Sandra, who would eventually become my mom. The dairy provided a modest living, employed many locals, and provided a much-needed product. But if you've ever been around a dairy, you know how demanding they can be, so he decided to try something different. Very different, most would agree. He and his brother-in-law heard the movie industry calling their name, so they went to Gallup and bought dozens of wagons. Mexico supplied them with cattle, and Colorado had horses. And before they knew it, they were supplying the movie industries with livestock and wagons. Most notably, he was the stock contractor for the Cheyenne Social Club and a few editions of Gunsmoke filmed here in New Mexico. Chet really liked Miss Kitty. Yeah, star of Gunsmoke. He used to take her dancing at Los Compadres. And yes, Chet really did know John Wayne, spending the weekends with John at his ranch in Nogales, Arizona, drinking and sharing stories, if you can believe that. Soon after, he leased the San Geronimo Lodge, built an arena there, and was putting on kid rodeos, professional ropings, and of course, the ever-popular donkey race. He would get 8 of the craziest donkeys he could find, and line them up, and a bunch of hippies would sign up for this event, and whoever crossed the line would win a half a beef. I guess it was pretty crazy in those times. But Chet always had a knack for unusual entertainment. The Taos Inn has been putting on Halloween parties for decades, and I want you all to imagine Chet, 65, 70 years ago, he showed up at the Taos Inn. His costume was black lace panties, leather chaps, his cowboy hat, and a Lone Ranger mask. No wonder Miss Kitty liked him. And I related to him. Chet has helped so many get to know this town, introducing him to the joys and uniqueness of life in Taos. He could tell you where to eat, where to drink, and where to play. Taos is much larger now than when Chet moved here in the 40s, but one thing remains. Anywhere he goes, they still know his name. Chet, you help keep Taos friendly and unique. I love you. We all do. Well, most of us do.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you for sharing a little clips of his life, and I can just imagine him walking to the Taos Inn. Holy. But Chet, it takes great honor and pleasure for me to induct you into as a living treasure of Taos County.
Thank everybody for coming. And as I was sitting over there, I wondered who was that nice guy she was talking about. Thank you very much, everybody.
Throughout my teaching career, I had over 1,000 students. I see some of them in the audience, and they're going to love this. Mrs. C made a big mistake. She did not follow her own program. So please excuse me. We wanted to start this celebration by doing the Mañanitas, because that's our big celebration song to honor everybody. And I should have done it before Chet's speech, but I just got carried away and forgot about it, so I am very sorry. I would like Grupo Sangre de Cristo to please come up and play the Mañanitas for all our honorees, and we'll get started in a very festive mood. Thank you.
In the Hispanic culture, the Mañanitas are a song of salutation. We use it for birthdays, we use it for weddings, we use it for any time that we will have a celebration. And to you, the honorees, Grupo Sangre de Cristo, would like to sing the Mañanitas, a very special song that signifies the honor that this community gives to you on this very special day.
Oh,
Thank you, Grupo Sangre de Cristo. And I'm sorry about my mistake, but now students, if we're in my class, you know that Mrs. C is human, made a mistake. Okay, we are going to now honor Jeff Northrup. And Jeff Northrup, I'm sorry, is known as the sign man. There's also another word that describes him, and he's going to kill me, controversial. But he's also our friend. The judges were very impressed with the letter that was written about him, so they selected him. And now we're going to find out from Speaker Bill Whaley why they gave him controversial. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to welcome everybody here to this historic hall and remind you that we are here not to mourn, but to celebrate not to bury, but to praise Jeff Northrup. Jeff is a patriot. He protects and preserves our respect for the United States Constitution. And it is appropriate that we celebrate this occasion in this hall. For I would like to remind you that my colleagues and I at one time helped protect the community of Taos. It was here that we practiced riot control drill, and it was here that the Taos National Guard got into their convoys and drove over the mountains to Tierra Maria and stopped a marauder from Texas from proceeding east over the mountains to take back the land of Taos. In those days, Taoseños slept in security and safely at night because the Taos National Guard was awake. They may have been at La Cocina, or El Gaucho, or El Patio, or Los Compadres, but they were awake. I first met Jeff in the 1980s in Chicago at a racetrack. I was up to no good, but Jeff was training trotters and driving sulkies around the track. He was also engaged as an activist in reforming practices to reduce the cruelty to animals at that track. Later on, you may remember that he continued advocating for animals in the community, especially when the mayor was firing off firecrackers and Jeff's donkey was upset. His donkey's name was Bobby Duran. Jeff has been an advocate for cheap gas, honest politicians, animals, and the rule of law. I'm going to tell you a brief anecdote that will go to the heart of Jeff's activism in the community, both his humor and his compassion. In the early 2000s, Jeff advertised in Horsefly, a monthly journal that I published and edited. He advertised his copy shop, his shipping depot, his notary duties, and his passport photos. His passport photos probably gross maybe $5 or $6 a month. He published on a full-page ad these tiny photos of famous figures to promote his passport photos. He included one month Osama bin Laden, another month Dick Cheney, another month George Bush, and then, mistake, Bobby Duran. Bobby took offense and served both me and Jeff a lawsuit for damages based on allegations of misuse of commercial image. Apparently Bobby wanted a piece of the action. As you know, Mayor Bobby was a close man with the dollar. We all three appeared in Judge John Paternoster's court, who continued the case. He was afraid of it. He was afraid of the political ramifications, so he continued it because Jeff didn't have a lawyer. So the judicial system unleashed the rapacious lawyers on each of us. They filed writs, briefs, memos, interrogatories, and interrogatories about more interrogatories. Our legal bills skyrocketed. Finally, my attorney sued the town of Taos for breach of free speech and retaliation. The town's risk management team negotiated a truce in favor of mediation at the legendary Billy Marchiondo's office in Albuquerque. Marchiondo himself had once sued the Albuquerque Journal for defamation. He told us then that we had to make a business decision about our lawsuits and counter lawsuits and counter lawsuits, and how much we wanted to spend for legal fees, for more briefs, and judicial jockey shorts. So we agreed, Bobby, Jeff, and I, to cease and desist, shut up and go home, pay our lawyers each $20,000 apiece. So that's how my relationship with Jeff began. That was the cost at the beginning of our friendship, and it was worth every penny. Jeff finally, in frustration with the succeeding mayor, placed a sign in reaction to what he considered the crux of town hall that said, "Bobby Duran, I'm sorry, come back." Bobby, Jeff, and I got a kick out of the whole thing. Bobby told me himself because that's the stupidest thing I ever did, filing that lawsuit. Jeff is more than an activist. He is also a teacher. He taught Smiths how to succeed in the grocery and gas business. He taught the courts and judges that when you swear to uphold the Constitution, that does not mean enforcing the mayor's enemy list. Just as the current mayor owes part of his election to Jeff, So we all owe Jeff thanks for speaking up on our behalf. So I say to you, in the words of Don Francisco Trujillo, viva, viva, viva Jeff.
Jeff, on behalf of the town, I would like to induct you to a living treasure of Taos County. And I want to say, Jeff, if it wasn't for you, I don't think we'd be paying the low fuel prices we're paying in Smiths today. So thank you, Jeff.
Thank you all for being in attendance. Thank you, Bill, for those wonderful words. I really appreciate it. And as far as fuel prices go, Smiths does set their own prices, but I'm over there whining and complaining constantly that they need to drop the price. So while I don't set the prices, I sure will make a pain in the ass myself. I'm never comfortable speaking in public, and I'd really rather have people throwing bottles at me while I'm picketing than speak in public. So you can be sure that my words are going to be brief, and I will read the words I have to say just because I want to make sure I say them the way I intend to say them. I want to thank Kathy for her perseverance in resurrecting the Taos Living Treasures program and apologize that the program was suspended for 4 years, primarily because of my political activity. But I'm going to not talk about my own ticketing and First Amendment things so much as I want to address a subject that's always on my mind, but I don't often speak publicly about it. And that is Taos is unbearably cruel to our children. So many live in dysfunctional households, making the children victims or witnesses to violence, physical abuse, verbal abuse, and sexual abuse. Nutritional needs are not met, and a safe, comfortable house is but a dream. Our schools and families do not come close to addressing these kids' educational needs. Taos media has ignored the plight of our children, as have I with my picketing sons. I made a commitment to myself to focus on children when I am picketing in the future, for whatever that's worth. Only the Taos News has the ability to expose the fear and hopelessness our children live with. Only the Taos News can rally our community to save our children. I have a bachelor's degree from one of the finest colleges in the United States. I've been totally self-sufficient my entire life. I have absolute confidence and respect for myself. And yet, for the past 4 years, I've allowed myself to be verbally and on occasion physically abused by my sister Pat Allen. She was an employee of mine at Southside Copies, and I could have fired her any time and gotten rid of the abuse on the spot, anytime I wished. But for various reasons, I didn't. Yet I lived in fear. I was 100% in control of my own destiny, yet allowed this abuse to continue. I cannot imagine the hourly suffering of our hopelessly helpless, abused children. We must act. Again, I want to thank Kathy and the members of the Living Treasure committees and my fellow honorees and those in attendance here. Thank you very much.
Our next honoree, I use the word gracious hostess for her. If any of you go to Ancianos, you will see her greeting you, and she knows everybody, and everybody knows her. And now we are going to honor Feloniz Trujillo, and her son, Octaviano Trujillo, came all the way from Minnesota to honor his mom. And the rest of her family's out here, so you'll get to visit with all of them afterwards. Octaviano.
allowing me to say a few words in regards to my mom. Again, my name is Octaviano Trujillo. I'm the oldest of 4 siblings. We have today with us my sister Margie, her husband Louis Anglada, my sister Vicky, husband Richard Avila, my brother Ben, his wife Veronica, and my personal significant other, Dan Barrett. Mother was born Feloniz Trujillo, Christmas Day, 1924, right here in Taos, and was never left. At the, in 1942, she married our father, Ruben Trujillo, who was also born here in Taos, and never left. And in those 53 years they were together, this blissful reunion and passion they had for each other. Unfortunately, we lost Dad about 20 years ago. And since that passing, Mother has dedicated herself to volunteer and work for the past 18 years at the Ancianos, and which is actually one of her dear passions. I would like to share with you a quote Mother uttered at Dad's passing. She said, "I never had the riches. I don't believe I ever had the kingdom. I had something better. I had the king." So, Mom, if history teaches us anything, that every kingdom has to have a queen. So today we honor you as Queen of our time. God bless you. May God bless you, and mil gracias to all. Thank you.
Feloniz, Mr. Trujillo, I think you have and had all the riches. You have family and friends, and with that, I'd like to induct you into the Taos Living Treasures. Thank you for all you have done for our community and continue to do, and hang on to that goal, the family, the friends that you have. Thank you.
First of all, I thank God for letting me here today, and for my family that's always 100% behind me. Thank you. She never forgot. What else can I say? I have a wonderful family, wonderful friends. Everywhere I go, I have friends, and I hope I still have them. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. If you look at the top of your program, it says honoring a lifetime of achievement. That's what the Living Treasures is, and usually that is our running theme. I mean, it's been our theme since Ted Avery and his committee founded this in 1987. But sometimes there's just a little sub-theme that's a little too juicy to ignore. So this year, Tina and I came up with a little sub-theme along with the lifetime of achievement, and that is bridging the generation gap. So as we were planning this, we had the youth in mind. You know, the youth can look to the adults as their role models and see what wonderful things they have done, and that they could say, oh, I want to be like that person, you know? Have any of you in the audience ever looked at a person, oh, I want to be like them when I grow up? So that's what we were thinking of with bridging the generation gap. So we've got youth judges. We had 2 members of the Taos High School mariachi group singing with Grupo Sangre de Cristo for the Mañanitas. And now we're going to have a wonderful treat with Mariachi Jaguar Encantado. And they are going to serenade the living treasures. Come on.
All right, thank you, everybody. Again, this is a great tradition and a great honor for our group that we can help represent stuff here in Taos County. We have a lot of students, as you can see, from all three schools, from Arroyos del Norte, from mostly from Enos Garcia, and a few from Ranchos. And again, just like anything, as you can see, we are a living treasure here, people that sit behind us, and I'm glad that we were able to honor them in this magical way we call music. And again, thank you all for being a part of this great celebration. We're going to be doing the song that the last group did because, as you know, we're young kids and we'll have a big repertoire. But Las Mañanitas is one of our ways of telling all of you also good day and happy birthday.
Ready? Las Mañanitas. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Estas son las mañanitas que cantan la reina Luis. Hoy por seña de tus santos me las cantamos a ti. Despierta, mire, despierta, mira que ya amaneció. Ya los pajarillos cantan, la luna ya se metió. Qué linda está la mañana en que vengo a saludarte. Con gusto y placer felicitarte. Día que tú naciste, nacieron todas las flores. La vida del bautismo y paronos y señores. Ya viene amaneciendo y a la luz del día nos dio. Levántate de mañana, mira que ya amaneció.
Again, all the songs that we perform are practiced in our classroom, in the Enos Garcias, in my classroom, my music classroom. And again, I'd like to acknowledge my two helpers, Miss Jamie Lou Martinez, now I was going to say Lucero Miss Martinez, and Miss Salazar. Without them, really, it'd be hard for me to do it by myself. So again, thank you. And everything is free, so anything you want to ever do, if you can do anything to help us out, our little group, we would always appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, La Reina, you ready? 1. One, 2, 3, 1.
thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the rich history and culture that you continue to share with our community. So thanks again.
Our next song is about something that we all treasure here in northern New Mexico and most countries is La Llorona. So I told the children, if they learn how to sing La Llorona, chances are she'd leave them alone. So that's a good way of teaching kids, I guess. But anyways, our love for La Llorona is going to be shown here in the way we perform it.
You ready? La Llorona. 1, 2, 3.
The
This will be our last song. We have about maybe 8-9 songs in our playing list, but some of them are a little bit shaky still. And again, our population is from kinder to 5th grade. So as you can see, these are young kids, and as you can see, hoping we can do something proud and make you proud of us as well. So thank you so much, and this is our theme song of the whole Mariachi Hawaii Cantado, Cariño. Our love for music, our love for culture, and our love for mariachi.
Cariño, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Juan Archuleta, Jamie, Ursula, and all of you students, thank you very, very much. Folks, this is the future of our community. I hope all of you guys stay with it so you can be in part of Mariachi and Tigres today, and I want all of you young people to know something. I had the best seat in the house. I could see everybody's faces from where I was sitting, and they all loved what you guys did. You should see all the smiles. So thank you for bringing smiles to us. We're now going to induct the 2014 honorees, and our next honoree is Clorinda, Cleo, Cisneros. And before we start, my nickname for her is the Bizcochito Queen, also Mother of Prado. And every now and then you get some little thing thrown into the program to make it very special. I remember the year we inducted Bobby Duman. He came up on stage and he did his hoop dance, and everybody loved it. Then we had Mrs. Torres from Amalia, and she came up here, pulled a comb with pieces of saran wrap out of her purse, and started playing music. This year we have Cleo Cisneros making bizcochitos for all of us. So we have our wonderful high school caterers who also are bridging our generation gap with the Taos High School Culinary Arts Program, and especially Mr. Benji, who was my student, and they are going to be serving some of our bizcochitos with their wonderful meal. Mrs. Cisneros' speaker is my son. I didn't twist his arm, don't think that. He's known her his whole life. And she lives across the street, so he knows her pretty well. And I'm going to call upon William to speak about Cleo.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. I thought today was really important that we honor somebody from El Prado. Mrs. Cisneros, I've known her my entire life. And I used to visit her regularly until I left for college. She is known as the mother of El Prado, and every time you pass by her house, you can see it. It seems like there's always somebody at her house visiting her. I don't think she's ever left alone, and if it is, it's just for a short period of time. During the time that I've known Mrs. Cisneros, she has taught myself and many other youngsters a lot about life. And after I returned back in my adult life, after being gone from Taos for 23 years, I immediately went back to her house and started visiting her again and learning about the traditions of El Prado and of Taos County. And she would always share everything that she had always gone through during her entire life. During my visits and through conversations with her and her family and reading stories about Mrs. Cisneros, I found out that she does know a lot of history. She was born July 3rd, 1922 in El Prado to Cirilio Medina and Adelaida Montoya Medina as the oldest of 4 children. Her childhood and adult life dealt largely with agriculture. And when the community of El Prado was fighting for the annexation from the town of Taos, she generously shared a lot of her personal history, which was put into the History of El Prado book, which helped establish our past and which showed why El Prado was a separate community from the town of Taos. This work has helped younger generations learn from her 92 years of life, and we know that she's going to live many, many more years, and she's going to continue to share those with her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and great-great-great-grandchildren. I found out that when she was young, her family raised pigs and sheep, and they grew fruits and vegetables. And I think to this day, a lot of her family, her kids, and her grandkids and great-grandkids still share that tradition. If you drive down their road, you'll see that there's gardens at every single house as you go down the whole road, which happens to be Cisneros Lane, named after the family. And I think the entire family pretty much lives on that road. So you can't get away from the Cisneros if you get stuck on that road. Her marriage to Cristobal Cisneros, who produced 6 children who were raised with values of helping family and serving the community. Her children, Raymond and Addie Cisneros, Didi and Jake Muniz Cisneros, Chris and Loreto Cisneros, and Mary and Benji Montoya learned how to serve the community through the example of their parents. Even when the cruel blow of losing loved ones through death struck Mrs. Cisneros, she accepted the heartbreak with dignity. She's always moved on. Somebody in her family has passed away, and she continues the tradition of just making the rest of the family move on and honoring those people, and never forgetting about them, and always praying that they're in a safe place. And that's something that she showed her family throughout the years. She has taught special life lessons to her nephew, Sammy Garcia, who's married to Mary Jo, and many godchildren, and she continues the path with 8 grandchildren, 19 great-grandchildren. She helped her husband to build her home and continue the agricultural ways in El Prado. And she always is proud to say, I never left my community during my entire life. As Mr. and Mrs. Cisneros' kids grew up, they proudly divided their land so that all their children could stay close by. They've also provided places for their children to build their homes, and now the grandchildren are enjoying the same treats as the property continues to be divided so that they can stay in the community as well. They also, in the family, I've noticed, whenever they go somewhere, they always stick together. 4th of July, you can go down Cisneros Lane probably the 4th of July, because everybody will be there. They'll all be at tienditas. But they'll still be together. In order to help her grandchildren save money to buy or build their own homes, Mrs. Cisneros has allowed many of them to move in with her on a temporary basis. And she takes care of them, and I think she tries to feed some of them. They still want to be independent on their own. But she always has a table set for all her grandchildren whenever they come over. Every morning I found out that she begins her day at 5 a.m. She's up bright and early, she makes breakfast, and I found out that she makes breakfast for probably over 20 people every day. That includes family. One of her sons works at the Taos Ski Valley, and I found out is in a carpool. And I think the people in the carpool really, really love it because she sends some type of food item so that they can eat on the way to the ski valley every day. So she also treats the ski valley folks real well. I found out that her daughter-in-law, Margie, Martin's widow, also shares dinner with Mrs. Cisneros on a regular basis. Mrs. Cisneros, I think as they explained, she shines in the kitchen. Almost daily she makes bizcochitos and pastelitos for bake sales, church functions, and for those who need a special boost. Every time I go over, I know I'm gonna eat something, and I'm probably gonna take something home. She grows some of the fruit which she uses for pies, and she also gives away some of her crops. People never fail to leave her house without any goodies after a visit. But I know that's not why they visit her, and that's not the only reason. They visit her because they enjoy her company and learning from her. She says that with lard, flour, and sugar, you can make almost anything. And she has shown us that you can do that. She said she learned that during the Great Depression. During the gas outage, they were instructing a lot of people not to turn on their own pilots after we got gas. And I would notice that a lot of the trucks in El Prado were driving around, but they seemed to be lost. And because a lot of the companies that they provided came from out of state, and as a matter of fact, they were lost. But somehow they found Mrs. Cisneros' house. And I told my dad, I'm going to go out and see if they're lost. Maybe we can provide them some assistance to get to residents, because I had understood that they had kind of divided up the community as to where they were going to go have people like their pilots. Well, lo and behold, when I drove out of the driveway, my mom and dad's driveway right across from Mrs. Cisneros' house, I saw about 5 trucks from different gas companies from out of state all parked at her house. And I was like, I wonder what's going on over there. So I went across the street. There were all these men that were sitting there eating bizcochitos. They hadn't even turned on her gas. She had her wood stove going, and she was cooking on the wood stove. And I offered my help to them, and they said they were fine. And after she fed them, then they were on their way and they started doing their work. I stayed to visit her after they left, and she said, these men are from out of state, they're here to help us, and we need to make sure we take care of them. So that's what I was doing for them. Mr. and Mrs. Cisneros were very active in Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish for many years, most especially with the little chapel of Santa Teresa de Jesus en el Prado, where some of her family members have served as the mayordomos and caretakers. Even at the age of 92, she recently made bizcochitos for those in attendance at a mass at the capilla. So they have mass once a month. After mass, you can probably enjoy some bizcochitos if you want to have a treat after mass. Last year, Mrs. Cisneros received a distinction of which she's very proud as the best bizcochito maker for a contest that was put on by the Taos Herb Company. She was very humble in taking that award, and I believe that she hasn't really received the recognition that she deserves. So I wanted to step up, and I'm the one that nominated her to be one of our living treasures. And I am proud to say that she is being honored today as one of our living treasures, and I thank her for everything she's done for us, and I want to thank all of you for being here to honor her as well.
Mrs. Cisneros, thank you for all you have done in our community and continue to do in our community. And Mrs. Cisneros, a living treasure of Taos County, New Mexico. The governing body of the town of Taos, having recognized the unselfish and dedicated service provided to the citizens of our community, has caused the title of a living treasure to be conferred with all honors, rights, and privileges here and everywhere pertaining to this designation. This special recognition shall serve as a testimony of the grateful appreciation of the citizens of the county of Taos. Thank you, Mrs. Cisneros.
I want to thank everybody for everything. And you're so good, and you feel good to everybody who came to you. Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to make a slight departure from the order in which we give the plaques, and we're going to honor Manuel Manjo Trujillo next. This man has, I call him multifaceted activity because he's done a lot of different things. And I'm going to call upon his son, Manuel Trujillo, to speak about him. Montes.
Hello, and good afternoon, everybody. I want to take a brief moment to thank the mayor and Tsosie for your time in getting this program going together. Definitely has a great place here in this town. I want to thank all of you for taking your time out. It's very busy. Let's be honest, football Sunday will probably help a little bit that the Broncos played already and the Cowboys don't play tomorrow. So, getting to the man I'm honoring here, my dad, I want to first mention the organization he's probably the most proud of being, and the one you all associate him with probably the most, which is the United States Marine Corps, which he proudly served for well over 20 years during a time when it was not the popular thing to do. Many were protesting and against the wars and stuff. My dad served very proudly doing that. Probably one of his mottos, if he had one in life, was to stand up and support what you strongly believe is correct, even if it's not the popular thing to do. After serving the Marines, he returned home in 1974. Upon coming here, he noticed that a lot of his fellow veteran members were having trouble reestablishing themselves as active members in the community. So, being probably the polar opposite of the definition of idle, my dad figured out what he could do to help, which was organize a field service office for the New Mexico Veteran Service Commission. He got that program running strong, establishing deep roots to help out the community and several other communities around. He also was an establishing partner in the Vietnam Veterans of America and is a dedicated and still an active member for over 40 years in the VFW Post 3259. As Kathy mentioned, may mention, he's been diversified in his activities helping out the community. He went on to help the youth with the Taos Municipal Schools. He got his foot in the door as a math tutor with the high school level students. And as most of you know, maybe teachers, any opportunity they had, they passed along the more difficult students to him. And as a drill instructor and all, he accepted the challenge and succeeded as a role model and getting them on the path correctly. He went on to run, was elected, and served 6 years on the Taos School Board. His most accomplished or most proud of moment there is being an instrumental role in establishing the collective bargaining for Taos Municipal School employees. He also loves the youth, and the youth tend to also love him very much also. He went on to help for 7 years with the Taos Little League baseball program. For a year, he expanded the number of teams, and he improved the age group format, which is a format which is still used mostly widely in today's Little League program. He also coached and helped encourage parents' involvement. We all know that the parents' involvement with their children is very key in this community. He served 6 years with the Optimist Club. He served several years as a mayordomo for the Sequia Association, which is a vital, very important role and organization in Taos. He's always been, and will always be, an active member in the Catholic Church, Our Lady of Guadalupe, and also the Immaculate Conception in Ranchitos, where he served as a mayordomo for several years. Lastly, and probably second or closest organization which he holds closest to his heart as being a member of Taos is being a real cowboy for the Taos County Sheriff's Posse, which he served for over 30 years. Here he helped them organize the scholarship for seniors, sponsor basketball tournaments, the 4-H club, and the high school rodeo club. So I wanted to say I'm very honored today to be here and to acknowledge my dad, and thank you for everything you've done.
Mr. Trujillo, thank you for all you've done. You know, for years, I didn't know that your first name was Manuel. I thought it was Manjo the whole time. But Mr. Trujillo, you'll always be Mr. Trujillo. The respect that I have for you, sir, is great. You know, you continued, you stood up, you protected, you served, and you continue to serve the community, our kids of our community, and that's one of the greatest important things, is the kids of our community. So on that, I would like to induct you into a living treasure of Taos County. Thank you, Mr. Trujillo.
Having nothing prepared, I just want to start off by saying thank you, each and every one of you, for being in attendance at this event. I want to also thank you, Mayor, Kathy, and all of the rest of you involved in re-establishing this particular program. As you can see, it is well worth it, is it not? I'd just like to thank my families, my relatives, and my friends that are in attendance for being here. Last of all, I'd like to give a special thank you for the most wonderful, blessed, and an honor to have a son such as I have here.
I would like to give Mr. Mike Concha my personal thanks for his understanding in changing the program slightly. When you think of the name Mike Concha, you think of the words tradition bearer. I also like to think of him as a father of some of my very good students. So I think highly of the Concha family, and now we are here to honor him today. And his daughter, Speaker Alice Martinez, will tell you a little bit more about him. Alice.
Kaya ho nam to ai wan to puna oan chuk ta ma ani ma bi tha ta na ho yan to ku e chuk ta ma ani ho ba to ma na wa ma ben an kan na ben ben chuk ta no na ki tu ya ya e an to na pe o yan te no na honor on me. Good afternoon, Mayor Feloniz, council members, Governor Romero, Living Treasure honorees, family members, friends, and guests. First of all, I have to thank the Creator for bringing us all together today. It's a beautiful day, and I'm just so happy and honored to be here among all these living treasures, including my father. On behalf of my dama, my father, Jose Miguel Concha, Mike, or to Van Elfier, you can call him any one of those. Thank you for this honor that has been bestowed upon him to be chosen as a living treasure for our community. Thank you for this opportunity to speak about his accomplishments. Born in 1932, Mike celebrates his birthday on August 30th. Actually, he celebrates the whole month of August. The reason why is that's the day he was actually baptized into the Catholic faith. And since my dear beloved late grandmother Teresita Concha only spoke Tiwa and did not write English, his birthday was not recorded, so he likes to celebrate the whole month of August. He had a lot of birthday cakes. He attended Santa Fe Indian High School, where he graduated in 1953, and where he played basketball as well. And he was a very good basketball player, I hear. Sometimes in town he'll meet some of his buddies that he played against the Taos High here, so they'll always see each other in Walmart or say, yeah, let's go play ball, you know, I'll beat you again. He served in the U.S. Army from 1956 to 1959. My father married his shy sweetheart, Celestina Sally Marcus, at Taos Pueblo on April 22nd, 1961, and had 5 children. Myself, my sisters, Michelle, Donna, my brother Benito, and Adeline. Also, because of his love for his people, there are many that have adopted him and my mother from different tribes and races. In 1961, my father moved his family to Colorado Springs to seek employment at the Flying W Ranch, and also worked at the Air Force Academy High School as a bus driver and in maintenance, retiring in 1981. During these years, he became an ambassador of promoting cultural awareness, advocated for our Blue Lake cause, and helped to organize the Lone Feather Council, which produced summer powwow encampments at the Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. Being in a suburban city far away from home, they, along with other tribal urbanites, supported their homesickness by being actively involved with the council. My father, with the help of my mother, kept their children involved in powwow dancing there in Denver and went to various powwows in Wyoming and North and South Dakota. My dad promoted Native American cultural awareness to non-natives, since their only exposure to Native Americans was in history books, by performing at civic organizations for various programs, even at the Colorado State Fairs, festivals, etc. He taught his children not only our traditional dances, but also specialty dances such as the eagle dance, pipe dance, Taos Pueblo hoop dance, and swan dance. Although my father sang the songs, he also enjoyed dancing as a men's northern traditional dancer at powwows. Since the struggle to regain our ancestral lands and Blue Lake was a tremendous cause during those years, my father advocated to all who would listen. He always spoke about the struggle at home and was very passionate about the cause. He made connections with many people in the Colorado Springs area who had letter campaign writing going to support our tribe. After being in Colorado for 20 years, Mike moved his family back home. It was time to come back and fulfill their cultural obligations at Taos Pueblo and to be closer to their aging parents, Tsosie and Teresita Concha, and Ben and Manuelita Marcus. Although living in another state, my father kept us immersed in our Tiwa language so we would understand the language and speak it when we came back home. I am so grateful, Dad, my father, that you taught us our language, and therefore I continue to be fluent in my Tiwa language. My father and my mother's love for singing in their Taos Pueblo round dance songs and powwow songs has kept my sisters and brothers to sing as well and to know the songs which have been passed on to the grandchildren and great-grandchildren. Every time we came home to visit in the winter or summer or whatever breaks that we had from Colorado, to come home to see our relatives, my mom and dad would always be singing in the car and we'd fall asleep. And back then, there was no seatbelt requirements like there are today, so I'm just grateful that we all made it home safe, and my dad was a great driver coming home through the many, many blizzards through La Vida Pass. My father, Mom, Mike, and Sal have been blessed with 16 grandchildren. Cameron Jr., our late beloved Nicholas, Concha, Branson, Adrian, Vanessa, Daryl, Katie, Genoa, Lydia, Adam, Francisco, Sierra, Julia, Alec, Pablo, and Natalia, just 2 years old. They are also blessed with 4 great-grandchildren, Haley, Grayson, Sunny, Zagi, Edwin, and another one on the way. He continues to teach us all how important our traditions are and sets the example by being active in our culture. Not only has he taught us all the songs and traditions, also he's been a great farmer. He's always planted corn up until 2 years ago. And he's planted corn and squash and beans, our traditional foods. He's taught us how to gather our berries at Taos Pueblo, all the traditional foods that we have, to know our native foods and to keep that going in our family. My father has served our Taos Pueblo government as a 2-term governor in 1990 and 1995, served as a lieutenant governor twice, war chief, and as a tribal sheriff. My father is also a lifelong tribal council member. He has helped to formulate important decisions for the tribe and is always outspoken for the cause of his people. He has been instrumental in the Taos Pueblo Gaming Casino Compact, helping to build the Taos Pueblo Jail and other economic developments such as the Chabuli glass blowing project for the tribe. My father's belief in preserving and maintaining our cultural heritage at Taos Pueblo is very strong. He is attaining the highest level in his Kiva plan, which is a goal that is a lifetime achievement. He continues to be active in all the traditional activities at our village and encourages his children and grandchildren to participate. My father and my mother have instilled their strong values in us, how precious and important our traditions are. In addition to tribal and cultural achievements, my father has been blessed with traveling to other cities and countries to promote his culture. In 1998, my brother Benito took them to Japan perform at a festival with the Kodo drummers. He also was asked to take his family to Washington, D.C. for a performance at a national celebration. He has been honored as an elder spiritual advisor as the voices of our people in Fort Collins, Colorado for the Colorado State University powwow. Because of my father's very special friendship with the late Woody Palmer, who is from the Miami tribe, a story was written for the Concha family called The Legend of Fire, which was produced into a book and video by my sister Donna in 2006. It is performed upon request by the family. He has blessed many places and buildings, including Rancho de Taos Post Office and Arroyo Seco Post Offices, only to mention a few. My father and family have been performing at the Cachino Lodge for a little over a decade now, and he really enjoys interacting with tourists that come from the U.S. and other countries as well, and invite you all in the summer to go see their performances. It's really, really awesome. My father, Mike Concha, is proud and honored to receive the Taos Living Treasures Award today. He is proud to have served his community and will continue on serving for as long as he's able to. He is honored and revered by so many people that have come into his life. My father's gentle nature, sincere love, and respect. Excuse me, I just love my dad so much. Has blessed us all tremendously. He continues to live his life with honor, integrity, respect, and strong beliefs in his traditional ways. He continues to spread his message of strong family values, keep up with our traditions and to speak the language, to become educated and maintain jobs, to help our tribe and the disadvantaged, to take pride in all that we do, and to take care of and love our families. So, I just love my dad so much. He's been a wonderful father, a grandfather, and just a blessed individual, and I'm so proud of him. And I thank the governor and the town of Taos for having this honor for my father and all of the living treasures. Thank you so much, and I love you.
Mr. Concha, Governor, a bunch of different titles that you own. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your history, your life. There was, I noticed a lot of your family, the love that they share. I mean, I saw tears that were shed. And, that love that you have for your family and those traditions and culture that you have shared with them to pass on to their generations to come. So in that, I'd like to induct you as a living treasure of Taos County. Thank you, Mr. Concha.
Good afternoon. Thank you all you folks that came over here to honor these folks that here. Thank you very much, Kathy, Cordova, and the mayor. And also, I'd like to introduce to you our governor, House. Stand up, please, for the mayor. Thank you very much for being here. I'm very honored, and I thank all the young students from the Taos High School bringing all that good food to you, all your people, and please stay and enjoy the food here. And I'm very glad that all you folks from this county and away from the county came over here to honor the folks back here. So I thank you very much for being here, and this is what I had to say now to you, to whom all people that recognize me are here, and some of you folks don't know me, and now you will know who I am. Thank you.
We have one more honoree. He's last but not least. And one of the great joys of being the co-chair of this program is I get to know all these people. Maybe I knew them before, maybe not. I had not met Mr. Tsosie before, but I bet you're wondering why I knew how to pronounce your last name. Were you? I have to tell you why. The T is silent. I went to school with your sister. Connie was at Hyman with my husband and I, so had no trouble with the last name. I think at the radio station there was a little question, right, Mayor? Yes. Yes, so I knew how to pronounce it. So I don't know if you wondered why or not. The other thing is, as we were talking, I found out that not only did he go to school in Santa Fe, where I used to live, but we knew a lot of the same people. My neighbors were related to him, had his family. One of his cousins was my classmate. So we're saying, hey, we know all the same people. This is really crazy. And I told him, maybe you are my relative. So we are going to now induct my newfound relative, Mr. Carl Tsosie. He likes to be called Cat because of his initials. Look, Carl Anthony Tsosie, Cat. And Speaker Gerald Naylor was governor of Picolis Pueblo. And if there was ever a big, big champion of our program, it was Governor Naylor. So, Governor Naylor.
an honor to be before you, for you are great teachers. About a week and a half ago, I was out there in my yard when an old cat walked up to me and asked me to do the honor to speak in his behalf at this great event that's happening today. I accepted with honor. But before I go on, I would like to recognize some of the key tribal leaders from the village of Hickory's Pueblo who have come forth to support this good man that we are honoring today. I would like to recognize our traditional leaders first, Mr. Joe Concha and his wife, Mr. Clarence Chewy, sister, Mr. Jesmer Manjo, and also some of the members from my people, the Hickories, who come here to honor this good man. But before I go on, I would like to recognize key family members that gave birth to Cat. Cat is part Diné, as I am myself. His family members are Lydia Tsosie from the Pueblo of Hickories, and the father was Diné Carl Tsosie from the Diné tribe. He is the eldest of 7 children, and they are all listed as Connie, Guisan, Cliff, Tsosie, Despa, Judy, Pat, and Dale. He also has a son by the name of Ramos, who is my traditional godson. His traditional family consists of tribal leadership also. The late Ramos Duran, who was more than one time governor from the Pueblo of Hickories, and Sylvanita Duran, who was his grandmother, and the church caretaker for the village of Hickories for many, many years. He also has other family members, who is Marina Duran and Bernard Duran. These are the primary family members. And with us, since we are a very small tribe, I guess, and we're all related, sometimes we have to go hunt for our partners to the outside. And I know one, he found a great one, which is Harriet Tsosie.
his wife, and so those are the key family members. Right now we have with us some traditional council members that are here that I mentioned. And also joining us is our tribal leader, Mr. Richard Mermejo, who is the governor from the Pueblo of Hickories. Very honored to have all of you here. As I go on, I think Taos County is a very, very unique group of citizens that we have. The cross-cultural experience that we enjoy. I've grown up at the Pueblo of Hickories, and I have known Chet from way back. I remember looking up to where his grandmother's house used to be, and he's still there, to see if I could spot a green station wagon, which basically told me the story that my friends had arrived from the town of Santa Fe. They were playmates from the very, very beginning. Some people refer to them as urban Indians. But to me, they were different. They had real cat toys, while us guys, we carried sticks. So that will tell you a great difference. They had plastic toys, better cars, and all this. They spoke better English. We spoke in Hickories. This was the uniqueness. His father was a great carpenter. So was the other Yaza family, which was Hubert. He was a painter. They all had trades in the Santa Fe, in the town of Santa Fe, where they worked. I always heard the name Alan Stan. He was a great man. As I was saying, way back, as far back as I can remember, it was a good arrival. Now I can take them down into the rugged part of Hickories, like the streams, and show them around. It was good to do that because us guys growing up there, we were ruffians. And we played tricks on the urbans. We'd lead them to the side of the river. And we knew where all the beaver holes were. And we would say, go this way, this is the best way. Then disappear into the hole. So those are the kinds of tricks that we played with some of the people who worked on the outside and brought their children back to the village to visit. As I can recall, back then, coming up in years, when I first became governor for the Pueblo of Hickories in 1981, his grandmother had walked into the church at the Pueblo of Hickories and told me, our church needs repair. I've been coming into different councils, but it's taking them too long. So now that you are in, I would like for you to repair the church. And I said to Mr. N, we will do so. That was a big job. So I again began to research. And the name came, Chet. He's well versed in building. He knows how to do it, and I think I can rely on him. So before I told him about it, Chet comes up to me and tells me, Governor, my grandma came to me and asked us to build a church. That was our first project. We'll do it, Chet. Little by little, we began to organize. He was very influential in establishing the Restoration League, who consisted of Dr. Herbert Dick, Joe Waldron, Jim Hees, and some of the experts who knew about restoration. We knew Dr. Dick from way back because he helped us along to excavate our village. So here was a crew. We developed our own, and we called ourselves the Restoration League, and chose Chet as our builder. And from there, it grew. That was our first venture. We made 172,000 adobe bricks with this direction. And with the help of the people. And with this direction, we got all kinds of people to help us in this big globe. That was our first project. And other development projects that Chet showed great leadership in was the building of our business, the Hotel Santa Fe. He was very, very supportive on this venture, and others that were from the urban area were very, very supportive. Chet in our village has played a very, very vital role, showing us what leadership is. And leading us to it on some of the things that we are not familiar with. I first met Chet at a good center that I worked at. We both had problems, but we both recovered. He gives me credit for helping him along the way, just like I did to regain sobriety. And I was very, very, very proud to at least stand by him to achieve his points. Chet is honored by all the vets, and I'm very honored to recognize some of them that are here as great leaders. He was in the Marine Corps in Vietnam, served tours there, and came home, as most veterans do, very shocked, but still kept his stance and pride, being Diné and being Piccaries. He took hold of the traditional way of life, served in many capacities with the tribal council, as lieutenant governor, as scout many times, as tribal sheriff, and participates in all our traditional doings. He is a proud example of leadership and has worked very, very closely with everybody's getting hungry. Business in hotel, Santa Fe. We do have Mr. Paul Margetson, who is general manager. Who is our new manager, general manager. Sophia. Who is food and beverage manager. Marcy Brown, Martin Grass, and so many people who have made close bonds with Chet. So now you know how vocal he is within our community, with our business ventures, and as a proud Marine. I could go on all day. I'm very honored to speak in his behalf. I did not miss out on anyone there. My wife Kimberly is there, Marcy. You good people, we honor you, especially we think of you. Just seeing you all here and being a part of Taos County, let's all stick together and be united.
Mr. Tsosie. Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. Chet, you've been, it sounds like you've been a hero in your community. You have been a hero in your community. You heroed a bunch of projects in your community. Please continue to do that. We talk about collaboration, with the town, the county, the communities around you, within the people of your community. You are a hero of that. Let's continue those relationships. And on that, I'd like to induct you as a living treasure of Taos County. Thank you.
the leaders here, the governor of Taos, my governor Richard Manjo, my spiritual leaders, Chili Martinez, right here, Jess Manjo, and our leader, Joe Concha. And the reason I'm here because I have a beautiful wife and her name is Harriet. Please stand up. I wear these colors, not for me, but for all the guys that are in the service right now somewhere. Had that bad time coming back, but it wasn't good. I see all these parades and everything, and I want to see all of you at the parades. But anyway, I just want to thank all of you for making me this honoree, especially my wife and the leaders here and the workers. I'm just a worker just like the rest of you. And I'm getting more hungry by the minute. I just want to thank the governor of Taos and the people of Taos for allowing us to come here and receive an honorary on their traditional land. And like I said, I wear these colors for the guys we left behind. And all I gotta say to all of you is,
Hey!